What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Just real quick, we have Vincent Dell's Rainbow Gogeta deck. I'm gonna pull up because there's some stuff we need to add to the video. But he was uh grateful enough to send us his Rainbow Gogeta deck profile, and we were gonna do a react to it. But he went so in depth that um I don't want to react to it. I just want to let him do his thing. You know what I mean? And there was something he wanted us to add to the video that he wasn't sure he could say in it or not. But okay, his wife made the art on his mat and sleeves, and he wasn't sure if he could plug her business into him. I was like, dude, you totally can. So we will link her. Okay, Michaela said she mentioned it at the end of the video. We watched it, but it's already been a while since we watched it, so my brain doesn't even remember. But we will link her stuff in the description below. Like I said, he does such an in-depth. This deck is so cool. It's so awesome, and it's definitely slept on. And we watched somebody playing it on a stream. Oh, the world champ, Legends, and man, it was just insane what he was doing on the board. It was nuts. So I'm gonna let him do his thing on the deck profile video. So check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And like I said, we were gonna do a react, but I don't think a react would do this deck justice. I think we just want to let him do his thing, and that'll be it for me. So later.
All right. I don't really have an intro, so my name is L2 Gage from D1 Gamblers. It's my TCG team. Here's the leader for the deck profile today. I'm trying to make it so you can see it. All right, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, best fusion. He's got a permanent. When activating Successor, Alliance, or any of the keyword skills that are on the cards in this deck, you just have it free for any color. Well, not free. You pitch a card and draw one, but and also when he attacks, it basically turns all the negatives, like the bad skills, into something useful. It's decent. It's nice. Keeps you rolling. All right, for main deck. Start with the engines. The engine of the deck starts with this revive unit. He's a 30k. I'm trying to make it see. There you go. He's 30k with revive and blocker. If you were to die by KO, he brings himself back. If you pitch one card, leader skill draws you one, and he comes back inactive. So it's a double attacker, double blocker. He has his own skill that he can KO himself to proc revive to then KO anything, not ignoring barrier. It's pretty nice. And you only need 2 energy. It costs 1 energy to play. Nice. Alright, another 8 drop. Run this at 2. The other one run at 4. This guy, he's pretty damn strong. He's expensive for a reason. He's your successor unit. He costs 1. Successor is, if you don't know, it's just you kill things up on your field up to the level of the card. So it's an 8 drop, 2 4s. And the cool thing about that, with lead, you don't have to pitch a card or anything. You just go plus. So if you kill an 8 drop, you draw a card. If you kill 2 4 drops, you draw 2 cards. And if you somehow have a bunch of small ones that add up to 8, you draw that many. It's pretty nice. He also has the choice to ditch 2 cards from your opponent's hand to gain double strike, or kill 2 cards ignoring barrier to get dual attack. He also randomly has blocker. It's coming useful. Alright. This guy. 2 of, again. Oh, and if I could fit more in this deck, I would. He's also stupid expensive for some reason. He rises from anywhere to like 20 to like 35 bucks. And for me, a college student, that's expensive. Right. But anyway, this guy. Double strike, deflect, energy exhaust, alliance. The cool thing about this card's alliance skill is that his alliance keyword follows a paragraph of text. The text has a way that pitches a card. With your leader skill, because the text follows the keyword, that also becomes a draw from your lead skill. So it's basically draw 3 and pitch 1 card, while also blowing up the board. It's pretty nice. and he costs 2 energy to play. It's just a good card. It's a nice hand fixer if you want to go aggro. Another 3 of, sorry. GT Goku. It's got Offering. It can be played on you or your opponent's turn. That comes in handy pretty much every game. It's a good card. Right. This is the 4 of. This is another Offering unit, only cost 1. The previous Offering unit has something called Spirit Boost, meaning you have to take a marker from a unison in order to play it. So he's not an early game card, he's more like mid-late game. This guy's early game. You could play this as easy as if you had 2 energy that were GT cards, so pretty much turn 2. Or turn 3 if you went second. Alright. He also has a skill that when he's played, he chooses a rest mode card and negs it 20k. The funny part about your matchup into pretty much any meta deck is that you have stuff to counter pretty much everybody. This deck specifically murders Zamasu. You have a card that just resets your deck. I'll talk about that in a bit. And this card is able to kill indestructible Zamasus, because indestructible Zamasus are always 20k. If your opponent swung them, you just play this and it kills it, because indestructible can be killed by minusing. Trunks. Alright, this is another 3 of, except this is a card with a skill called Aegis. Aegis is when you pitch a card, leader draws you 1, and then you restand 2 energy in active mode. Very strong. This can be played on both turns as well. The Trunks also is great with deleting keywords off of cards that don't have barrier. So like if your opponent's playing Nova Shenron and they try swing with a triple striker, you just play this as an active battle. It's now a single damage. It's pretty great. All right, 4 of, another Aegis unit. Or I should probably, I'll fix that in a minute. Another 4 of, it's an Aegis that also has blocker, which is nice. It also stops a restand. So if your opponent has something in rest mode, either on your turn or on your opponent's, you just stop it from restanding next turn. Pretty nice. You mostly just use it for the Aegis. Alright. Second to last engine card. This is your giant anti-Zamasu card. You just play it, reset your whole deck by removing Super Saiyan 4, or not Super Saiyan 4, just a GT Goku. You send all battle cards in your drop, and what was it? Yeah, both drops just go back in your deck. So if Zamasu's milling you out, you just play this, restart. Pretty strong. Run it at 2. It's also a 10k. That's also a 0 10k in this deck, since your backside lead reduces the combo cost of GT cards, and you also have a Z extra that's played when you awaken. I forgot to mention this card. When you awaken, you get this out on board for free. This card is nuts. It reduces the combo cost and negates energy exhaust, just like the front side of lead. But also, you can remove this card from the game and just not take damage from a swing. Your opponents hit you with a quadruple strike SCR or something. Say no counters to blockers, no combos. It hits you, remove this, it didn't do damage. Pretty funny. But specifically, Yellow Shadow Dragons has a card that can counter it. It's called like Dragon Thunder or something like that. That's the one card that can negate it. You just play differently against that matchup. It's not a huge deal. It doesn't kill you outright. Usually it's nice that they waste resources trying to hit it, and you've already have plans to do other things to get out of that situation. All right. This is the SCR you play for the deck. It's personally, I don't think Paranga's better, but some people run Paranga. It's not a bad card or anything, but this one burns a life, and it's hard to interact with since it happens the second you swing. So unless your opponent hit it with a counterplay, there's not too many things that can counter it. It also is going to be like 100 and something K swing. It gets +5 for each GT card that's on your energy, field, Z energy. Is it Z energy? Or yeah, just for each of your GT cards. Yeah, so that counts field and energy. Yeah. And it also ignore barrier wipes board. It's a great card. and it plays 4 bodies from your drop or Z energy. That's what I was thinking of. And the 4 bodies can be any of these, which is a lot of targets. So you'll probably have a couple in your drop by then anyway. So it's great. Wins you games. All right. For the counters in this deck, you can choose to run like maybe 2 floodgates. The deck doesn't need much depending on the build. There's some builds that run like a crap ton of blockers. I think it's a Dr. Gero guard, something like that. You pitch it off of the Vegeta over here, and he plays out as a blocker. It's a great card. I personally like the floodgate versions better, just because it stops counterplay as much because your opponent doesn't get as many swings. For the most used counter floodgate in here is Forbidden Power. This thing's great because in yellow, people expect you to play Nimbus most often, which you do in the side deck depending on your matchup. But this will basically make it so your opponent will think you have Nimbus, swing with something smaller, use this, and then you defend the swing really easily, and now you're prepared for the next swing, which you can either use blocker or negate or whatever they do, and kind of like mitigate the damage that they would do on that turn. They learn quick, but it still worked. 2 of Time Magic, late game Z Denier, early game Self Awakener, depending on your drop. It's just decent. It's not terrible. SCR Killer, released from Evil. Thinking about bumping it to 2. Might. Not sure. I see it pretty much every game. This deck cycles a lot because you're pretty much all these skills. You're pitching 1 and drawing 1. It doesn't seem like you're getting a lot of cards out of your deck, but you are because you're constantly cycling through your skills. So you usually see all your tech cards in your 1-ofs. Final Flash, 2 of. Useful against everybody. I don't think there's a deck that doesn't get hurt by one of their big cards getting hit by this. It's just good. Mutaito, another card that can hit SCRs really well. It's also specifically good against your green matchup. This deck hurts against green because of hand destruction. If you hit Solidarity with this, you're golden. It's going to stop it from killing one of your things, and it stops, a hand destruction, something like that. Stops a battle, that's a double strike. It's just nice. Here's the card that people aren't going to expect. This card has won me a couple games at this point. It's a better Nimbus that this deck plays surprisingly well. If you activate Aegis, you restand 2 energy. As long as one of those energy is green, which you have 1, 2, 3, in-engine green cards, and then later you'll see more black cards, but you also have an in-engine black card, you're going to get a green and a black energy. You could do the secondary permanent on this card that just you take a life and reduce it by a black. You sometimes do it, not often. This is like a last resort card because your opponent, once you use this, can only attack 1 more time for the turn. That includes unisons. Nimbus doesn't include unison, so your opponent could play like 3 unisons that turn and swing 3 more times. This stops that. So I personally run this as one of my nice cards. All right. Here are the tech packages. This is 1. Bardock Overwhelm 4. Draw 2, pitch 1. It'll set up this card, which I'll talk about in a minute. And it also draws you card. This deck, specifically, I've packed full of tech packages that draw. Because this deck needs it pretty badly. Hopefully someday it'll get like a new support or a promo that lets it draw. But right now, I need packages to fix the draw. That's like the one big flaw of the deck. But I think it's fair because this deck is pretty decent, in my opinion. I know some people don't think it's good, but this is Goku Black. This is something you pitch from your skills. Pretty much every one of your tech cards is something to help fix the choice of what to discard in your hand for your revive, your Aegis, all those skills. This one you want to pitch. You want to see this in drop so that you can overwhelm it so that it's in your warp. At any time, you pay 2, play it, and rest one of your opponent's energy. So specifically in red, your kill turns are just pay 2, play this from warp, rest their last energy. Now they can't E-dance you, swing for game. Done that so many times. It's great. You could do this as early as turn 3 if you really wanted. It's pretty good. It's not very expected. You could also play tiny little, dumb mind games where you just don't really announce that, oh, I got the Goku Black and drop, I'm going to overwhelm it. You just do it and your opponent's just not paying attention, and then you just play that out. It happens. All right, another tech. This one specifically has really funny implications. It's a 1-drop card that, as long as you had a red-yellow in your combo area, you pay 1, play it out. It's got offering. The other skill is to stop a 4 or less from switching to active mode. Doesn't come in handy too much. It's the offering that you really care about, specifically because you have combos where you can offering twice in one battle, which is fun. Sometimes 3 times in a turn if you really want to be a dick. You could play this for 1. Don't swing with it. You offering, swing with something else. Combo with this. Tap 1, play this guy, and then tap 1, play this guy. That's 3 offerings total. And then on opponent's turn, you could go ahead and get swung by whatever. Go ahead and play Beerus, activate Aegis, pitch a card, draw a card, restand 2 energy, play another one of him. And then if you have another one, you could play another Beerus to do 2 or 3 offerings in one swing again. So they're either critting 3 lives or drawing you 6 cards. Yeah, I'm slow. Yeah. So it's great. Late game, this card pluses you in hand so much, to the point I've had one of my friends just scoop the game at some points when I offering him 3 times while he's on 1 life. It's fun. It's really fun. Kawitsukai, it stops your opponent from really counterplaying you much on your turn. Sometimes they do it anyway. They're losing cards in hand. And it's another target that you want to use this as your pitch fodder for your skills. Like Aegis, pitch a card, you pitch this guy. When he's in your drop, you warp him for 1 energy. You take 2 cards from your hand, put them back in your deck, fixing your hand and drawing 2. So he's nice. You can use him as early as turn 1. It's another one of those cards. Tau, I want another one of these for my locals eventually. I'm going to play this at 2. Don't know what I'm going to swap for it, but this card is great. You play it as an activate battle, so once you've Aegis'd, you can play this in a battle. You can offering and play this if you want. Counter, and then next swing, play this, whatever you need to do. He automatically combos a 1-cost combo from your hand, which is all of these. They're 1 costs, but for you, they're 0s while you do them. But in hand, there's still 1 cost. I keep hitting my phone. There's still 1 cost, so this skill still plays out. It draws you a card, and then it gains barrier. And then once per turn, it's also a blocker. Once per turn, when it's in a battle, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards that's in a battle with this card. Ignore barrier, KO it. Funny. Very funny. I love this card. I need more. Here is your super combo. It's just bottom deck 1, fix your hand, draw 2. It's good. Alright, so here's the Z deck. Start off with Oolong. It's Oolong. He's in every yellow deck. It's just copy of cards, battle power. You have some pretty high power, 35Ks and 40K and stuff like that. Pretty good. Your next is this Bojack. This Bojack is how you kill unisons really easily. I haven't seen anybody run this yet, but Bojack can KO the Vegeta after you swung with it. That'll activate your revive, restanding it, drawing you a card, pitching a card, and then kills 2 markers off of unison. Specifically for green, what you can do is you just have the Gogeta out, you just play this, kill, and now they can't, if they're like on 0, they can't use Dormant anymore if you kill the unison that way. You could spend 4 energy to play 2 of them. Since it's not limit 1, it's once per turn, per copy. So you could do that if you want to kill turn, like if you already have a board of bodies and you're like, I can probably kill this turn if I stop them from using Dormant. You also have to make sure you have the hand size to go around uneasing. That'll, warp a card from your, or not warp. Let's add a card from your hand as the energy. Yeah. Alright. Kaioken. Good card. Don't use it as much. Not much to explain. It's in most yellow decks. This guy. Also, haven't seen people run this, surprisingly. This is your way to use Shenron at any time to reset your deck. So, usually, you would think that you would need an in deck card to send away for this thing's skill, but this removes a card. It doesn't send it to drop, it doesn't need to see the drop or anything like this. Z cards don't hit the drop, they just get removed if you remove them. And this requires a GT Goku. This is a GT Goku. You can use this for the move. It also happens to be a great card that burns a life, double strike, has barrier. It's just a good card. Yeah. It's just nice to have. Self Awakener. That's all it's used for. If your opponent's thinking that they can life deny you, so that you can awaken, because his awaken condition is stuck at 5 lives. I hate it. It should have just been that you had a unison out or something like that. Here, it's not really showing up. Yeah, I have a thick protection sleeve because it's really nice art. All right, unison, 2 copies. Good unison. Not many decks can deal with it. Green sort of can early. They're not really gonna unless they know the power of this deck, which most people don't. It's a very underrated deck. Has a permanent where it just can't be swung at as long as you have a GT card. You always have a GT card, so this thing is never going to get swung into. As well as it can't activate blocker unless it has 3 markers, but once it does, you basically have a semi-unkillable blocker that's going to be at a ton of markers, so that every turn you could use your floodgate, activate blocker, and then you're just not going to get hit that turn, especially with the Gohan floodgate. Just Gohan, block. Their turn ends. Pretty nice. It's also a Self Awakener whenever you play a GT card, and that works for both turns because it also gives you 5k to your lead. So every turn, your leader is going to be at 20k base. Pretty much guaranteed. Just flap 1, play him on any turn, +5. You can grab a life. You don't have to. It's an up 2 skill. So it's nice. Nice. I don't know if anybody really cares about side deck all that much. My side deck's weird. It's not really complete. I play this guy against decks that spam unisons. Namku specifically. I can just use this if I know he's going to play another one. Nimbus. You, against multicolored decks, you swap out the Gohan for this because the Gohan only works if the opponent has monocolored energy. So if you're playing... what else is multicolor? I guess Zamasu sometimes uses yellow-green cards, but Zamasu also doesn't really have a powerful unison, so you could just play the Gohan anyway. It's up to you. It's also if you want a cheaper floodgate that does pretty much end their turn. You don't want to use this against yellow because they can spam unisons at some points. I think blue can also kind of. I think they have 1 drop. They should have 1 drop. Omen against Namku, against Xeno, Super Saiyan 4, Goku. Just Z denial. Pretty nice. This guy, if you want to side this against green, you don't have to. But if you do, you can only charge your yellow cards. So, like, you can still get the Gohan by charging this, and I think your successor is also green-yellow. Yeah, so green-yellow. You have enough multicolored cards that are also yellow that you can play this card, but it's a little bit risky to do. So, unless, like, I think I would only use this card against a really good green player that I know is really good, or if they're using, like, Vegito and I just really want to kill him quick. Something like that. Like, I have to know the person to put this in my side deck. You're going to have so many bodies that this card's always going to be free. You just neg, what is it, neg 10k? Yeah. Yeah, it's neg 10k. Is it 10k? I know, you basically kill 2 of your cards to gain 100k power. Well, that's 10k. Yeah. So you neg 10k to your things, and then your leader gets 100k for free. It's great. It'll get you out of situations that, say, your opponent counters something to do with, like, your floodgates, or your opponent can't activate battle card extras, something like that, stopping your Gohan. Pretty sure that's a thing for Invoker. But yeah, it Comes in handy sometimes. You don't always use it. Not super necessary. Absolute Annihilation. I hate this card. Should be banned, but I'll use it against blue. Something like that. Sometimes also green, just to stop them from doing any of their shenanigans. If they decided that they'll just stay on one energy to extra card negate you, you just do this, you just win. I hate this card. Against black, kill 30Ks early. Pretty much it. This is actually a good side against this deck, but nobody's going to do that unless they know. This was my side deck choice for Kid Coup. It's not really a problem anymore. This deck used to get really hurt by Kid Coup because it could neg 5k the unison the second it's like opponent's turn, and then it would just die. And you could just never get it to have enough markers unless you, I guess, you had to do a lot of work to keep it alive, when now it'll be fine because your Kid Coup can't hit it. So you don't really have to side this as much. This, if you really need another floodgate, you can use this. For other cards in my side deck, let me see. I had two cards that I'm going to swap into my side deck eventually. Tyrannical Blow and the blue counter Chi-Chi. That whenever your opponent switches energy to active mode with the counter skill, you just kill a life and they pitch a card from their hand. Or no, it's energy. Energy and life. Yeah. And that's about it. That is the deck list. Yep. My arts were made by my wife, and so was this mat. So, thank you very much for listening.